Hey everyone, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. Today I'm going to plant my spring onions or green onions, shallots if you live in Sydney, that I grew from seed. I'm going to grow them in a different section to the ones that were cut off just down to the roots from the supermarket, so I can keep an eye on what's happening with that. See if they grow better. There'll be a different variety for sure. Oh my goodness, I've just split my pot. That's no big deal. They're from the reject shop, and yeah, there was probably a reason for that. So I was just going to show you this little baby one, which I've uprooted a couple of times. Unfortunately, with watering, it's just been so much smaller than the other ones, I've forgotten it's there. So what I do with a really small one is I put it a bit closer to the other ones so that if it dies, the other ones don't look too out of whack with their spacing. Not that I'm a big one on perfect spacing, despite my measuring of the carrots and parsnips the other day. Yeah, that was more from an experimental point of view. Just make sure there's enough room for the roots. And plant the last little one. Good set of roots there, really, especially as they're in a pot with other ones. Alright, we'll water those ones in. They don't need a huge amount of water, just enough to make sure the soil goes around them. This is a pretty fluffy mix that I've got here. Oops, there's a root there. These are just roots from the packet, I think. Yes. Another quick going over. And these will be growing in no time. On to the next thing, which is some leftover Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes. Wasn't sure if I was going to plant them, but I will because they want to grow. You can see these little ones are actually shooting. The other leftover ones were a bit mouldy, so I got rid of those, but yep, these ones want to grow, so let's help them. So I have a couple of pots ready here, quite large pots. I'm going to plant the Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes a bit lower than I would normally, the soil level I mean, because they become quite tall, 2.5 meters tall, and I want to give them a little bit of support. I'm not quite sure what I'll do for support, otherwise perhaps I can get some plastic or metal netting and put it around the edge and hold them upright a bit more. Otherwise they'll be all over the place and I won't get my beautiful sunflower kind of flowers in spring, summer. So that's just about the level we need. I've put a handful of cow manure in the top of each. You have to be careful with, as I said recently, you have to be careful with chemical fertilizers because they're a little bit too harsh on plants. But I think these little guys will be fine with a little bit of manure just under them. So you can figure out by looking at them, especially when they're sprouting, that that's the top facing upwards because that's the way they want to go. They were lying on this side. I'll just nestle them in here. I've got 5, so I'll just put 3 in one and 2 in the other pot. They're probably still a little bit crowded. See, even though that's small, you can tell which way it wants to grow. Ooh, I take it back. Look at that. Bigger sprout that way. I'll go with the bigger sprout facing upward. And I'll do the same on the other side. Yeah, then we've got the most sprouts up the top. And that one's a bit of a weird one. I'm guessing that it will shoot from the top there. Hopefully that'll all be fine. I'll just cover this up. Someone of mine recently was planting sunchokes or Jerusalem artichokes, and they planted them a lot deeper than I do, about 6 inches. So I thought, we're almost halfway through winter, should I plant them that deep? The other ones I planted were about 10 centimetres to the top of the, I believe it's a rhizome, not a bulb. So that's about right, I reckon. That'll be fine for this time of the year. And we'll water those in. The other person was in a much cooler climate than we have here. So by the time these really start to do something, hopefully they won't need too much frost protection. And we'll be just fine. Just have to keep the water up to those in the next few days. We've still had a fair bit of rain recently, so they'll be fine. It's a sunny day, so I'm doing more out here than I was going to, of course. I do have things to do inside, so I better get to those soon. So you can see our carrot tops in there and a couple of other things, but I'll stop adding to this, except for it's a bit wet, as I said the other day. I didn't do much about it. I'm going to add some sugarcane mulch because it's definitely dry. All of my leaves are kind of wet, kind of weird looking at the moment, so I want something that's definitely dry that'll break down quickly. You can use paper, but I find there are just too many weird things in paper, and it's kind of annoying, well, to me, when it doesn't completely break down and it's just sitting there in your garden looking at you, but that's just me. Now this is an organic product. It's just the ends of the sugar cane that they don't need for sugar, basically. All little bits in the leaves. This is the end of the bag, so it's had a little bit of rain in it, but it's mostly still dry. I don't have a shed yet to be undercover, but I will at some point soon. Alright, that's enough for now. We'll put the lid on securely and we'll give it a bit of a roll to mix. We used to have quite a few of these. We gave most of them away. We used to have some long-term food storage, just a little bit of it, because we used to live near where it flooded so much in the tropics. We would be stuck at home for a few hours, a day or so occasionally. Not as bad as some areas, but good to have a few extra tins and some dry goods available at home if you live in an area where there's weird stuff going on. So this will mix it up a little bit without having to get too dirty. Let's take a look. So that's somewhat mixed. Still doesn't smell any good, but I'll give it a bit more of a shake and put the lid on and see what happens in a few weeks. I'll come back and show you. So I'm pretty happy with getting all of my larger fruit trees, especially the stone fruits, in the ground while they're still dormant, except for the little pink lady. It's just doing its own thing up the end. It's still got leaves. So these are in a line, at least the middle of the tree is in a line. They're all the same distance from the fence, and I'll get some supports. They're crazy expensive. Anyone noticed that everything has gone up to do with gardening? Yeah, the old-fashioned tomato stakes, those kinds of things, just the wooden stakes with the sharpened end. They'll pack of 6 for $22 or something. It's like, what? Anyway, maybe I just don't spend enough money. But anyway, there's my Moore Park apricot planted today. I haven't had time to level off the ground. It's just sort of little moat at the moment because I really have to go inside and do some other things. I'll show you my 2 cherries, which are near my mini greenhouse. Oh, which you actually can't see right now, but over that way. So we have our Stella cherry here, a spelliad flat. That will be a fan shape, like the other stone fruit. That was the first one I did, so I kind of leveled out the ground a little bit before I got too tired. Still haven't rearranged my pile of leaf mulch there, but I will get around to that. So the Stella is self-pollinating, and over here the Lapin cherry, that one is also self-pollinating. So they don't really need each other, but my cherry tree stick, I should say. So they don't really need each other, but they will be better together. So they're about 3 meters apart. So all my other ones are 3 meters apart. So that'll make it easy for the bees, and I may yet move, perhaps not my sunchokes, but I may move my little mini greenhouse out of the way, perhaps behind our desert ash tree once we chip those branches there, because it doesn't need to live there, it just needs to sit there, so it's not like a plant. So my little mini greenhouse might do well over there because it'll be in full sun. But otherwise, I have some things to pack up, places to go this afternoon, things to do. So I hope you're having fun in the garden. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.